couldn't go live for some. I pressing the live button, and it wasn't going live. Someone's online. And then is that you? Oh, okay, Linda. use use the app Capcom. I've used that for the free version before, but I'm not sure what the difference is between the free and the paid. I probably used it 10 times. I just don't know what the difference between free and paid. What's the difference between them? Are you getting disconnected? Oh, you only make one free one. Wow. So the difference is eligible, unless it's one a day or something. Yeah, I think you can get one a day. Because I was making them, I just made one a day, and I think you can get it free one a day. It's kind of like ChatGPT and Grok, where they let you limited amount free per day. So Linda, I watched the video and it said you bought the Black Panther. Did you buy the Black Panther? I got the free. Tara Stevens asked, "What'd you get?" I got the free Whopper. I haven't bought a Whopper in a month. I always get the free Whopper. $9, okay. Did you have an open spot on your wall to put it, or did you have to take something off of the wall to put the Panther on? So Tara Stevens, sometimes we get people from Asia, Europe, Australia, and North America. Oh, you don't know where? Okay. Right now we have Australia. We could easily get Asia. We get a lot of Asians from like Indonesia and India and Pakistan, Philippines, and allegedly Japan. Oh, you're from Australia. What? I used to live in Sydney. What part? What part of Australia? Linda's online. She's from Rudy Hill, New South Wales. So the first suburb of The first suburb I lived in New South Wales was north of Manly, a place called Harbord, but they changed the name. Oh, Perth, wow. Oh, Katoomba. I've been to the Three Sisters in Blue Mountains. I went hiking there with some Americans and a couple Australians. And I think it was Penrith. There was a restaurant called, I live in Arizona, but there was a restaurant, I think it was in Penrith, which is close to the Blue Mountains, that they had it was called Arizona Bar and Grill. And so it had the license plate, the Grand Canyon State license plate on the front on the sign. And then on the inside of the restaurant, it had all these license plates from America. Katoomba. You lived in Katoomba? It wasn't foggy, no. Did you live in Katoomba? Linda's going there soon. Linda lives, you can ride the train all the way to Katoomba, I think. Or at least you could back in 95. I haven't been there in 31 years. But the Blue Mountains are beautiful. And the trail's really nice to the Three Sisters. Beautiful trail. And it looks safe. Oh yeah, you grew up in Katoomba, wow. And now you live in the big WA. Wow. It's interesting. Well, I think Perth is a safe place to live. I could be wrong, but I figured if there was a World War III, I'd want to live in Perth because Sydney's more of a target. And then you got a lot of, you know what happened at Bondi Beach. In Perth, I think something happened. Linda, did something crazy happen in Perth? Like some immigrant? Ah, I love Sydney. No offense. If you I grew up in west side of Phoenix, or east side of Phoenix. Sydney's a lot more beautiful. And the people are nice in Sydney. They were to me. It's funny that you say Sydney as a whole. That is funny. Oh man, that's so nice. I would love to visit Perth. In fact, there's an American that I work with. He went to Australia and he went to Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, and he went to Perth, and I think went to Adelaide too. He's the only American I've ever met that's been to Perth on vacation. And I know him well. I've known him for 30 years, and he and his wife went to Perth. Well, Sydney's beautiful. And I've never had a problem in Sydney. And I haven't been to the rough parts like Doonside. Well, I've traveled the world, and let me tell you, Sydney is clean, a lot cleaner than other cities in the world, a lot cleaner. I would say Sydney's one of the cleanest big cities in the world compared to other big cities the same size. It's probably the cleanest of the same size. Because everywhere you go, people don't care. They just throw stuff in garbage everywhere. It's like they trash their own country. Terrible graffiti everywhere. So, I think Sydney is amazing compared to. Yeah, Sydney is amazing, but Perth is. Perth might be a small, like less people, but it might be the same beauty because it's Australia. You know, Australia's a beautiful country, and that's why people are attracted to it. I think it's just far away. In 1993, I flew from Los Angeles to Sydney on Qantas 747. It was 14 and a half hours. Well, let me tell you, I've seen a lot. I've traveled Europe and I've been to Asia, Europe and Australia and America. And Australia is a lot cleaner than other countries. A lot cleaner. A lot. I'm not saying other countries aren't clean. And I'll tell you, I, if you're lucky enough to be from Australia, you're pretty lucky because, as far as I'm concerned, the people are nice. The country's beautiful. The government is sus. I'm trying to get my reading glasses on. The government is sus, but other than that, this has 3 speeds. Yeah. No. Place you visit in the world? Well, so even though I'm in America right now, I live in Ukraine, and I plan on dying in Ukraine. My wife is in Ukraine, and I have a house there. And technically, I bought 3 houses in Ukraine. My brother-in-law lives in one of them, and no one lives in the first house I bought. No one lives in it, and it's a fixer-upper. But I paid $233 for my first house in Ukraine, and I paid $600 for my second house, and then I paid $25,800 for my third house, my nicest house. So 6 days ago on Monday, is it Monday in Australia, or what day is it in Australia? I know it's in the future. What time is it in Australia? In Perth and Sydney is opposite, so who knows what time it is. I'll look it up. I have a phone like that. It's Sunday. Okay, yeah. Sunday. Okay. So it's Sunday morning in Arizona. It's 8:49 in the morning in Phoenix, Arizona. And 6 days ago on Monday, April 27th, the Russians bombed my hometown in Ukraine. Population 12,000. It's a small village, a small town anyway. No traffic lights, only one stop sign. And they bombed my neighborhood. 18 different drones bombed my neighborhood. They were trying to hit a factory, and they're trying to hit the power grid, so they blew up the power grid. We were only getting 4 hours of power. Imagine you know, sometimes Mother Nature takes over and it's Russia. I live 1 hour south of the Russian border, and Russia is terrorizing the good people of Ukraine. Really crazy. It's crazy over there. So this is it. This is what they did to my neighborhood. That's at the end of my street. It's like 300 yards away. Maybe 400 yards away. I walk by that every day. Yeah. That is my neighborhood. And the fire department is directly next to that's a wallpaper factory, and the fire department's right next to it. So they were trying to put it out, but they kept on getting bombed. Unbelievable. That's on my way to the supermarket. I walk by there on my way to the supermarket. But they did it at 4 in the morning on a Monday morning. Between 4 and 5, 18 different drones bombed my little town. And luckily no one was killed. They injured one guy that was in his 50s and one guy who was in his 70s. They injured 2 old men. Were unbelievable. Well, I'm going back to Ukraine. I'm not 1,000% sure. I'm not 1,000% sure what day. I'm going back eventually. Yeah. I'm prepping for it. My mom's in a rest home here, and she can't walk. She has to be lifted in and out of a wheelchair and pushed around, and then they have to change her clothes every day, and they give her a shower a couple times a week or whatever. But I've been spending 9 hours a day with her. Visitation hours are 10 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, and so I try to spend all day with her. And I used to spend my weekends with her because she lived 3 hours in northern Arizona. So I'd work 4 days in the valley and then drive up 3 hours to hang out with her for 3 days a week, every weekend for 8 years until I retired and moved to Ukraine. And I lived in Ukraine for 22 months until I came back to I thought she was gonna pass, and it took me a week to get from Ukraine to USA, and I thought she was gonna pass, but during that time, but she's improved, and she was actually walking, and then she had a sore on her foot. Yeah, so okay, let me explain this. What you don't know. So I live an hour south of the Russian border, but the church I go to is 2 hours west of me. It takes 2 hours by bus. I live half the distance to Russia that I do to the church I go to on Sunday. And they get bombed because it's a city, and they get bombed all the time. Well, I'm okay. I'm actually okay. I'm not. But you know what? I love Australia. I haven't been back in 30 years, but I spent 2 years there in the North Sydney area. I got to go to Dubbo one day. I got to go to Bathurst for a month. I was in Newcastle for a month, or south of Newcastle, in Toronto, New South Wales. You probably know where that is. And so one of the funny places I went to in New South Wales was Bullaroo, which is close to Toronto. It's been so bad there. Yeah, in Ukraine, it's been bad. While I was gone, it got worse. And you don't see it on the news a lot, but I see it because I subscribe to the news channels that post all the stuff, so I see all the crap that's going on. And it is crazy. It's crazy. Super crazy. Super sad. I'd say the Terra at least Perth isn't as expensive as Sydney. Housing prices are through the roof. Yeah, Perth is probably. So I knew a family that was from Perth that moved to Sydney, and they were super nice, but they were from Perth. And I don't know why they moved away from Perth, but they lived in Perth, and then they moved to Sydney. No, I didn't go to the Double Zoo. We just went there for some guy volunteered to drive us there, and we weren't supposed to go, and he got a speeding ticket on the way back. We didn't go to the Double Zoo. So sad. 6 or 7 hours. Wait, it's like 600 or 700 weekly on average here in Perth. Wow. Here. So Tara Stevens, guess what? In Ukraine, in my small village, for a small apartment, like a one-bedroom apartment or maybe a studio, it's $50 a month. So that's $12.50 a week. It's so big you need a car. Oh wow! So the Dubbo Zoo is so big you need a car. When I went to Dubbo, we drove. Some guy drove us to the church there. I think I don't know what. I don't know. I can't remember. I should have wrote a journal about it, but grinding. There too. Oh gosh, we be grinding. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, in my village, the problem is you have Russian drones flying over your apartment complex every night. So you go to sleep and all you hear is, and they like to zoom down like as if they're gonna bomb you. Pay the man. Grinding is working hard to pay the man. Okay, I didn't know. I know Australia has different slang. My first two roommates, one was from Cranbourne, Victoria, near the Mornington Peninsula, and the other one was from Templestowe, Victoria, in Melbourne area. And so these two roommates I had when I first moved to Australia, they spoke only English, but their slang and their accent was so strong that I didn't know what they were saying. One guy, the guy from Cranbourne, Cran, Cranbourne. That's how I don't know how you say it, but he said the word sticky tape, and I didn't know what that was. But he said sticky type. It sounded like TYPE, and I said, hey, no offense, I know you speak English and everything, but can you please write down what you said? Because I don't my ears don't translate your accent and whatever the heck you're saying, like your slang. So he asked me if I had any sticky tape. So he wrote it down, and so he wrote sticky and then the word TAPE, sticky tape. Well, in America, I've never heard that before. So I said, what is sticky tape? Well, we just call it Scotch tape because that's the most popular brand, or tape. I've never heard it called sticky tape. So he had to show me what sticky tape was, and then I found out what sticky tape was. And then I was doing community service with that same Australian guy, and we did volunteer service at like a secondhand store that was, it funded some church charity. I can't remember what it was called, but it was 32 years ago. So, or 33 years ago. Wow, that was 1993. I'm trying to think of the name of it. But anyway, the lady said the word sticky beak, and I was like, sticky beak? Everyone says sticky, sticky. I don't know what sticky beak means. Well, apparently it means someone that's nosy. In America, we would just say a nosy person. And she said the word sticky beak, and I'm like, what does that mean? Meanwhile, it makes sense that a sticky beak is someone putting their nose in everyone's business or whatever. I think she was calling me a sticky beak. And I'm just asking questions because I don't know what people are. Everyone speaks English, and I have no idea what they're saying because I only speak English. Nosy. Wow. But I learned, I ate a lot. I ate a lot with a lot of, I was invited over to eat from a lot of different Australians. So I got to spend time with them in their homes and talk to them and eat with them and everything. And they were always, always nice. Everybody. And I did get to go to Circular Quay in the Opera House. I got to go to Taronga Zoo, Waratah Park. I got to go to the Katoomba and the Blue Mountains and hike to the Three Sisters and all that. I played basketball with a lot of, on every Monday we would go to the gym and play basketball or somewhere to play basketball. I got to play a lot of basketball. I missed Craig's 21st. That was cool. I missed Craig's 21st birthday. I missed his 21st birthday. So I was in Sydney when they announced the Olympics. I think it was 1993. They announced the Olympics that they were going to be in Sydney for 2000, and it was so much excitement. So I was there that night, and I'll never forget how loud it was. The elite was there. Oh, because I got transferred or something. Got moved. So Elder Ely was there. Okay. Ely was from he's a Samoan guy, but he's from New Zealand. And then he married a Maori girl from New Zealand, but they live in Sydney. And he has cancer. He's probably like 52, 3 or 4. Maybe he's 55, I don't know. But he has cancer, and he had to have chemotherapy. And he has a son that's really good at basketball. I don't know if you know this, but he was really good at basketball. So Ely could dunk a basketball, and he would dunk it like Michael Jordan. He was so good. He was the most amazing basketball player I've known for a long time. But then when he got married, I think they had like 4 or 5 or 6 kids. I can't remember the last count, but some of them are really, at least one of them is really good at basketball. Anyway, I walked a lot in Sydney. I took the buses a lot. One time when I was in Toronto, so I don't know if you know Toronto, but there's like rolling hills up and down in that area. And we parked our bikes my room and I parked our bikes at Bullaroo train station. And it's probably closed now, so when we came back, someone stole our seats, and I didn't have money to buy a seat. So we were riding up and down the hills of Toronto, New South Wales on bicycles with no seats because someone stole our seats. Oh, wow. Are you are you New Zealander? Or you have relatives that live in New Zealand? Because you're saying your cousin danced in the opening for the Olympic Games for New Zealand. Yeah, we had no seats. It was so we ended up buying seats for $5. That's the cheapest one we could get. And they were really hard and terrible. No seats. Oh, so no seats. You just had to stand up the whole time, or like sit sideways on the crossbar, or on the bar, or whatever it's called. The pole was still there, the bicycle. But who steals a seat? You know, in a small Uluru is a super small town, and everyone was there was nice. Oh, Mallory, you are full Maori. Wow. Have you ever heard of the Polynesian Cultural Center in Hawaii? Miro Erosion. So there's someone online from. Are you from Ukraine? Говори по-украински, ты украинец или Russia? So there's someone online. It looks like they're Ukrainian, and it's Miro John, Miro John, or Miro John. I gotta get my glasses out. I can't. So someone's watching from Europe. Anyway, Russian, not Russian. Yeah, Ukrainians, da, Sanganov. So it's Miro John. Okay, I'm sorry, nope, never heard of it. You have 16 people watching. Okay, so hello, Privyet. So I understand, I can speak a little bit of Ukrainian, but apparently there's a non-Russian Ukrainian. They said not Russian, but they're in Europe. So we have Australia watching, probably someone in North America and Europe watching. Yeah. So Miro John, do you speak English? Говори по-английски? So, Tara, since you're full Maori, just so you know, the Polynesian Cultural Center is in Hawaii, on Oahu, the North Shore, in a suburb called Laie, and they have basically it's like a theme park of different Polynesian cultures and societies. One is Maori from New Zealand, one is Samoan, Tongan, and they have Fijian and like maybe Tahitian or something. Privyet. And so a lot of Maoris from New Zealand go there and they do the haka, and then the girls do where they spin the balls. I don't know what those are called, but they spin those things back and forth, and I don't know how you do it, but it takes practice, I'm sure, and they teach you how to do it. But they do that there. Yeah, and so I have a friend that's from, I think he's from Hamilton, a Maori guy. He lives in Brisbane and he's married to a Maori, but they have a son. They're both full Maori, and their son worked at the Polynesian Cultural Center doing the haka and other stuff in Hawaii. And my cousin, he was the president of BYU Hawaii in Hawaii, but he had cancer, so he was going to chemotherapy full time. So someone else was the interim president of the university there. But I have a picture of him. Okay, since you're here, let me get a picture of him. He posted it. Where is it? Well, let me just search his name because that's some typo. Headed there to Christmas for family and have it. To say it, okay. So this is what it looks like in Hawaii. They have all these Maoris doing their traditional dances and stuff. And this is my friend. The older guy is my friend Tayapa, and that's his son doing the haka and all the other traditional dances in Hawaii at the Polynesian Cultural Center. This is a picture of him doing the haka, I think. I'm assuming that's the haka. Mount Cook. Linda's been to New Zealand. She says, check out Mount Cook. So this is his mother. That's my friend's wife. And Linda knew that Lynn Taipa. That's his wife and their son. His name is Monson. That's the three of them. It's hard to see. And here's them on this. Here's them on the stage. Oh, here's a live version. He's doing singing something. Let's see. Oh shoot! Hold on. Turn up the volume here. That's pretty cool. So one of those guys, I can't tell which one, but I think it's the kind of like the middle one. He's the son of my friend. One New Zealand. Wow, that's interesting that you're full Maori. Maori people are very nice. Very, very nice. I've eaten a lot. So one time I was in this place, I was in Hornsby. Maybe it was St. Mary's, I can't remember, but we would go to dinner with this Maori family. They were from Whangarei, North Island, New Zealand, and they would cook Maori bread. So if Terry, you know what Maori bread is, I gained a lot of weight because I was eating good food. They fed me a lot of good food, and Maori bread was amazing. I used to eat tons of Maori bread at this Maori family's house. Maybe you know how to make Maori bread, which is in Arizona, the Native American Indians from the Navajo tribe, they have Navajo bread, and it's Maori bread is so good. Wow, I love Maori bread. I was a little skinny guy. I probably gained 20 pounds in 4 months just eating with Maoris because they fed me so good. And after they feed me, I would take a nap because I was like super full. I've never eaten so much good food. It was amazing. And I remember one time they had a hungy and they had this. So they had the pit of pork or like a pig and some chicken. The chicken just fell off the bone. It was so moist from being cooked for a long time under the ground. It was amazing. And of course Maori, some more Maori bread. And I think they call it a hungy. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. Do you speak a little bit of Maori? So if your relatives live in New Zealand, I'm assuming it's the North Island. But I know people in Whangarei and Hamilton and what's the other? I can't remember where else. It's been a while. Maybe Wellington. But there's a lot of Maoris in the North Island. Most of them, I think, live in the North Island. But you were born in Sydney to Maoris from New Zealand. That's interesting. And there's a lot of Maoris, tons of New Zealanders in Sydney and Australia. Very interesting. I can't speak it. I wish. Dad's from the North Island, Mom's from the South. Wow. So is your mom from Christchurch? And your dad's from like maybe Hamilton or Wellington or maybe one of the cool names of the. So the interesting about the North Island, a lot of the towns have names that are in Maori. So unless you understand how to read Maori, you don't know how to say it. Like Whakatane and Whangarei, the WH is the F sound instead of WH sound. And that's how they say it. I mean, that's how they write it. I don't know. But so my mom lives in northern Arizona. Her house is there. her next door neighbor, she is a Palangi or Pakeha from Christchurch. She was born and raised in Christchurch. Her her dad, I think, died in the World War. No, maybe he didn't die. World War II. He was in Anzac, Auckland. Okay, Fukapu. I'm guessing he pronounced it Fukapu. Oh, I bet depending on how you pronounce that, that could Christchurch. I've seen pictures, and she showed me where she lived in Christchurch, really close to the bay, and it was gorgeous. Like we did the street view from Google Maps of the house she grew up on, and how close it was to the water. It was gorgeous. Earthquake. I don't know. Earthquake. There was an earthquake in Christchurch. Dad's near Auckland. So my friend that was a Samoan but grew up in New Zealand, he was from Mangere, which is close to the Auckland airport. And so in 1995, I flew from Australia, and I had a layover in Auckland at the Auckland airport in New Zealand. And I left the airport so I could get my passport stamped. So I had my passport stamped, and it was good for 30 days in New Zealand, but I only stayed for 3 hours. So, but it's evidence that I've been to New Zealand airport. Earthquake. Wow. I don't know anything about the earthquake. So tell me, earthquake. Earthquake. It was a big one. Let me, since you're saying this, let me see if it's on YouTube. Christchurch. How do you spell Christchurch? I knew a girl, Pakeha, from Christchurch, New Zealand, and she looked American to me. She had like blonde hair, blue eyes, but she had a really thick accent. Flying a lot of the buildings. Wow. Christchurch, New Zealand. I'll see the earthquake. Okay. The day Christchurch. Sure. Let's see. This is the Christchurch. Wow. Well, that's the inside of a supermarket. That's Christchurch. Yeah. Wow. I didn't hear about this. Jeez. Scary. Wow. I'm sure they built it back up nice. Oh, 2010, so it's what, 16 years ago. September 4th, wow. Lots of earthquakes, sometimes volcanoes going off. That's the only problem. Wow. New Zealand is one of the safest places in the world. That's what I've heard. So the picture of it. Some of the damage in Christchurch. Oops. Oh, it killed 65 people. New Zealand earthquake killed 65. 6.5 magnitude, hundreds trapped in rubble. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow. Wow. Huh. Yeah, I'm sure it's a beautiful city. I don't know anything about the Lake Takapotara. Yeah, it was bad. So, Tara, since you're full Maori and you're born in Sydney and live in Australia, you've never been to New Zealand? It's not much of a target, apparently, if there was a war, yeah. New Zealand. Wait, apparently there's only part of New Zealand that is clear of any nuclear deviation. The rich have bunkers there. Wow. Yeah, but it's so far away. Like, I don't even know if you could hit it from, unless you had a sub, a nuclear sub, yeah. I've only been a few times when I was in, oh, okay, Australia's home. Okay. So you have traveled to New Zealand when you were younger. Okay. Your parents took you probably. So in Australia, Hungry Jack's, home of the Whopper. Well, in America they call it Burger King. So if you've been to Hungry Jack's, I'm basically at Hungry Jack's, but they call it Burger King here. We have a zillion burgers. So Tara, do you like the burger with a lot, or is it Tara or Tara? We had a Burger King in. Wow, you had a Burger King or a Hungry Jack's in Katoomba? It was the first fast food to ever be in the mountains. Wow. Even before McDonald's. Wow, that's interesting. Wow, it's a Burger King. Wow. Bought a million phone cases and I bought a million phone cases on Team. Okay. So Linda Tara says that in Katoomba they had a Burger King before they had a Hungry Jack's. In Katoomba it was the first one. That's what she's saying. And if I remember, oh wow. So Linda's verifying that she remembers that because she doesn't live too far from Katoomba. She lives in the western suburbs of Sydney, so she can easily drive there or take the train or whatever you call it, the light rail, because it goes right to Katoomba. It's really nice. That's how I got there. I couldn't. I never drove. In fact, so Australians drive on the others. I mean, they drive on the what left side of the road? No, yeah, left side of the road, and their steering wheel's on the right side of the car. Well, that's the opposite. So it would be really hard for me to drive in Australia. Oh, it's a 40-minute drive. That's not too bad, considering you're on the outskirts of any city life and you got all the beautiful canyon and forest of the Blue Mountains there. It looks amazing. There's postcards everywhere. Everywhere in Western Sydney, you have postcards of Katoomba, Blue Mountains. You drive on the right side of the road? Linda says I drive on the wrong side. Well, in Australia, the left side is the right side. In USA, the right side is the right side. I'm not saying you guys drive on the wrong side. You guys, your steering wheel's on the right side of the car. So, and if that's the way it is in the whole country, then it's normal. But if an American goes there and rents a car, he's gonna have a hard time. Yeah, if an American rents a car in Australia and has never driven in Australia, and all of a sudden the steering wheel's on the other side. So the weirdest thing, I was a passenger. The first time I was a passenger in an Australian car, it was weird being on the left side with no steering wheel. Seeing Three Sisters, yeah, Three Sisters is amazing. But there's postcards everywhere. They're not postcards where you live in the western suburbs, Linda, of Katoomba, because it seems like everywhere I went, you could see the Three Sisters, and it would say the Blue Mountains, postcards everywhere, as far as I remember. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's unintentional. So, Tara, do you have a lot of Maoris have really interesting, like emerald green eyes. Do you have emerald green eyes or brown eyes, or what color are your eyes? Everywhere. Oh, it's really everywhere. Yeah. Oh, do they have Katoomba postcards in Perth? Is that what you mean? Dark brown. Okay, but maybe some of your relatives have like the emerald green eyes, because a lot of Maoris have that. A lot of them, and it's really interesting to see. That is not really as much as. Oh, okay. You mean the Katoomba postcards? It would be interesting to see Ayers Rock, Uluru. That would be really interesting to walk. I think you can walk on top of it. Cousins with green. Ah, okay. So you have cousins with green eyes. Isn't it really? It's really interesting to. It's almost like when I see them with the green eyes, I can't help but stare at their green eyes, just like mesmerized. It just looks so unique, because you don't get that in America very much. With anybody with dark skin with green eyes, you don't see that very often in America. Very, very rare. So when I saw Maoris with it, I couldn't help but just, whether they're boy or girl, I was just staring at their eyes like, wow. Their eyes look so exotic with the green emerald. It's almost like it's a jade. And in New Zealand, they have the green stone that they carve a lot and wear necklaces and jewelry and stuff. Mine changed between green and hazel. My parents were both English. So here's something Linda probably knows, but Terry doesn't know. I went on vacation to Gallipoli, Turkey. And when I was there, they asked me, I was in Anzac, because I went to the hotel there to rent a room for the night. And they asked me if I was Anzac, like Australia, New Zealander. And I said, no, why is that? But it's because of World War One. A lot of Anzacs are buried in Gallipoli from the Battle of Gallipoli. I have a cousin who has one blue eye and one green eye. So I can't remember which one's which, but one is. No, it's brown. So he has one brown eye and one blue eye. Like sometimes you see dogs with one color eye and two different color eyes. My cousin has one green eye and one blue eye. Anzac Day last week, yeah. So they thought I was an Anzac when I was in Turkey, because a lot of Anzacs travel there because their ancestors are buried in Turkey from the Battle of Gallipoli. Like the Mel Gibson movie Gallipoli, he was in the. It talks about, or shows that cats can have different color eyes. I've seen that, and I've seen dogs with different colors. So my cousin has that, and he lived in Japan for 2 years. He speaks Japanese, and he can write the Japanese symbols. He can write it. It's really like calligraphy. They call it kanji. It's really interesting. You know people from all over so I have friends in Ukraine. I have friends in Australia and some in New Zealand. The ones that I know that live in New Zealand, they lived in Sydney at the time, but they moved back home to New Zealand. And then I have cousins in Hawaii. I have two different cousins. Is it two cousins? No, two cousins. Yeah, I have a cousin that's a female that lives in Hawaii. And then I have a cousin that's a male that's in their families. They're both married and have children. They both live in the North Shore of Oahu. And it seems like I have another cousin in Hawaii. I can't remember. I have a cousin in Alaska. And I have a cousin that she married a guy in the Army or something. And they live in Germany. And then my uncle's retired U.S. Army, and he lives in Germany to see his grandkids in Germany. Hawaii is amazing, but New Zealand's amazing. So. Do you go to these places? I lived in Australia for 2 years. I've been to Turkey, Bulgaria, Finland. I haven't been to Alaska. I've been to Hawaii. I spent 5 weeks in Hawaii. I've been to Mexico. I almost went to Canada once. I was like on the border in Minnesota, but I didn't have my passport, so I didn't want to get stuck. I almost went to Canada. I just didn't have my passport, and I was afraid to get stuck there or like not get allowed in. So I had rented a car in Minnesota. So I'm driving in northern Minnesota, I was probably an hour from Canada, and I live like 5 hours from Mexico. Yeah, I missed out. I would love to see Niagara Falls. That would be interesting. My brother and his family went to Niagara Falls, and they got a whole bunch of cool pictures. All their kids at Niagara Falls. Um, Even though I've been to Turkey, I don't really have any. I don't have any friends in Turkey, but I have friends in Bulgaria and a ton of friends in Ukraine. Linda is infatuated with America, Americans, and American culture and USA, and she wants to go to the States, but she's afraid of flying in planes. But she doesn't realize that America's not as nice as she thinks it is. Australia's way nicer than America. She thinks Los Angeles is amazing, and it's a dump. Like Tara was saying bad about Sydney, how it's dirty. Los Angeles is one of the most dirty cities, and you can't breathe. One of the times I went to Disneyland, or I went to Magic Mountain, and I've been to Disneyland when I was a kid, but Magic Mountain as a teenager, and I could barely breathe. The smog was so bad, and then all the streets are dirty. There's homeless people everywhere because the politicians allow homeless people to live on the streets like it's not illegal. And so there's probably 1 million people. I'll Google it. How many homeless people in Los Angeles? Because that's a legit. In LA, it's probably more than 1 million. I mean, this says only 72,000, and that's bullcrap. There's no way. Like with the homeless and drug, yeah, yeah. So Linda wants to go to. Linda wants to go to. Huh, bad, yeah. Sydney looks like Japan in comparison. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, the drugs in America are unbelievable. This says the homeless population in New York is 140,000, and it says in Los Angeles it's 69,000. That's bull crap. I thought it was 1 million, but there's way more than that. But the stats always look good because they don't want to look bad. It's terrible. Los Angeles is terrible. And so they have an app for San Francisco of where the human poop is on the sidewalk to be careful, so that you don't step on the human feces in San Francisco, California. And San Francisco, California is a sister city to Sydney. They look very similar, but Sydney's clean. And San Francisco is full of crap. I mean, it's just crap everywhere. Linda said she nearly went to America, was going to go with a friend, but was caring for her mom. And she was scared to put her mom in a respite home for any length of time in case she thought I left her, yeah. Yeah, she took care of her mom for years and years and years. Years and years. 24/7. Because she loved her mom. So there's a homeless guy coming into the BurgerKing. Wow, since you were 5 years old, you want to go. And you know what? I think you would cry if you came to America how bad it is and how much money you wasted in time. There's a homeless guy that just walked into the BurgerKing. What can you do? It's a free country. Anyway, I gotta go take care of my mom, so I gotta end. Have a good day, Tara and Linda and all the other people.